stuck in peak hour traffic in downtown Los Angeles, the relentless hum of the city a constant, irritating drone. The concrete jungle suffocates you, presses in on your soul, and all you crave is escape. Your Mark, fresh out of college, working a dead-end job, feeling the weight of expectation crush down. Your friends, Sarah, always on her phone, documenting every mundane moment. David, the self-proclaimed survival expert, constantly spouting obscure facts. And Emily, the quiet artist, whose sketchbooks are filled with ethereal, unsettling landscapes, are all feeling the same pull. One sweltering evening, over lukewarm beer and stale pizza in your cramped apartment, David pulls out a tattered map. "Guys," he announced, tracing a finger across a blank patch of Arizona, miles from any recognizable town. "I found it, an old, abandoned ghost town. Says here it was a mining commune that just vanished. No records, no nothing. Untouched, wild. Perfect for a detox from this concrete prison." Sarah groaned. "No Wi-Fi, are you insane?" Emily, however, looked up from her sketching, a strange flicker in her eyes. "Untouched. That sounds compelling." You felt a curious tug, a primal urge to get lost, to find something real outside the manufactured reality of the city. What would you do? Stay safe in your predictable, suffocating life, or chase the echo of adventure into the unknown? You agreed. Of course, you did. The lure of the forbidden, the undiscovered, was too strong. The first couple of days was standard road trip fare. Blaring music, greasy diners, endless stretches of sun-baked asphalt. But as you veered off the interstate, following David's increasingly cryptic directions onto what maps simply labeled unsurveyed lands, the landscape shifted. The red desert earth gave way to scraggly, parched scrubland, then to ancient gnarled trees that clawed at the bruised purple-grey sky. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else. Something you couldn't quite place, both sweet and metallic, like old blood and decaying leaves. The sun, once glaring, now seemed to press down, a sickly, jaundiced eye in the vast expanse. The gravel road stretched endlessly, a winding, forgotten ribbon through a dense, oppressive forest. Your phone, once buzzing with notifications, now displayed a stark no service. Sarah cursed, tapping her screen frantically, her digital lifeline severed. David, usually so confident, fiddled with the temperamental GPS, which kept losing signal, eventually just displaying a blank screen. Emily, usually sketching, now huddled in the back, her eyes wide, scanning the darkening woods, her hand clutching a small, worn crucifix. Then the car sputtered and died. Silence, a profound, suffocating silence descended. Even the usual chirp of unseen insects seemed to hold its breath. A tangible stillness. Your blood ran cold. David tried the ignition again. Nothing. The dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree, displaying an ominous engine malfunction warning. "Damn it," he muttered, punching the steering wheel. "Must have hit something back there." "It's getting dark," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible, laced with a fear you instantly recognized. You step out of the car, the air instantly colder, prickling your skin despite the lingering heat of the day. The surrounding trees felt like looming sentinels, their twisted branches like skeletal fingers reaching for the fading light. What was that sound? A faint, rhythmic thudding, like a distant drum, or perhaps a heartbeat. Uneven, unnatural, feeling that familiar chill crawl up your spine yet. If this story is already tightening its grip on you, hit that like button, seriously, and tell me in the comments, right now, what's the creepiest sound you've ever heard when you thought you were alone? The decision was swift, born of desperation. Anything was better than staying in the dead car, surrounded by that suffocating silence and the growing darkness. David protested, arguing they should wait for morning, but the others, fueled by a primal unease, overruled him. The thudding sound seemed to be coming from deeper in the woods, just beyond the tree line. You rationalized it was a generator, or maybe an old pump, clinging to any plausible explanation because the alternative was a primal fear gripping your throat, tightening its grip with every passing moment. Hours passed. The thudding grew louder, more distinct. It wasn't mechanical. It was organic. Thud thump, uneven, like something being dragged, or something huge dragging itself just out of sight. The air grew colder, the scent of damp earth and that metallic sweetness intensifying. The moon, a sliver of bone white, offered little light, only casting long, grotesque shadows that danced and writhed around you. Then, through the gloom, you saw it. A flicker of sickly yellow light. An old farmhouse, leaning precariously, its windows like vacant eye sockets staring out from a skull. A single bare bulb glowed on the porch, casting a weak, flickering halo into the darkness. Finally, Sarah sighed, relief flooding her voice, though it sounded brittle, almost hysterical. But Emily pulled back, digging her heels in. No, something's wrong here. She was trembling. You agreed. A strange, unnatural silence hung round the house, thicker than the forest air. No crickets, no wind rustling the leaves, only the distant, terrifying thud thump, now clearly coming from inside the house. What would you do at that moment? Heed the warning, or push forward into the unknown, hoping for salvation? David, ever the pragmatist, overrode the burgeoning fear. We need help. They might have a phone, a spare part. We can't stay out here. As you approached, the thudding stopped. Dead silence again. The porch light flickered once, then held steady. The front door, paint peeling, wood warped, creaked open, just enough for you to see a sliver of darkness, and then a pair of eyes reflecting the porch light. Not human eyes, too large, too dark, reflecting the light like polished obsidian, devoid of empathy or recognition. And then a low guttural growl that vibrated through the very ground, a sound that seemed to claw its way up from the ancient earth itself. Before you could react, before your mind could even process the horror, the growl intensified, becoming a monstrous roar. A shape, immense and indistinct, lurches forward from the darkness of the doorway. It moves with an unnatural speed, a blur of shadow and distorted limbs. It was too fast, too big, too wrong. You hear Sarah scream, a raw, piercing sound that cuts through the night, abruptly ending in a choked, gurgling gasp. You turn, scrambling, your lungs burning, your legs pumping as if your life depends on it, because it does. You don't look back. You can't. The sounds behind you. Emily's choked cry, David's desperate shout, the sickening thump-thud of something heavy hitting the ground, followed by a wet, tearing sound that will haunt your nightmares. You run until your chest is on fire, until the trees blur into a dark tunnel, until you collapse, gasping on what feels like asphalt, the horrific echoes still ringing in your ears. You don't remember how you made it back to the main road. The sun was just a sliver on the horizon when a passing truck, Its driver, looking at you with a mixture of pity and terror, picked you up. They asked questions, but you couldn't answer. Your voice was gone, your throat raw. You only mumbled about getting lost, about friends who must have gone another way. The police searched, of course, for days. They found your car, empty, engine ripped apart, as if by giant claws. They found tracks, but they were too large, too strange, too deep to be anything they recognized. They found no trace of Sarah, David, or Emily. You're back in your apartment, now miles away, in a different city entirely, Denver, Colorado. The familiar streetlights outside your window, a false comfort against the encroaching darkness. You've changed your name, moved across the country, tried to build a new life, but it doesn't matter. Because sometimes, when the streetlights flicker, or a floorboard creaks in the dead of night, you hear it, that uneven thump. And sometimes, when you glance in the mirror, in the deepest shadows of your own eyes, you catch a fleeting glimpse of something else, something large and dark, something that followed you home from that forgotten stretch of countryside, and it's waiting forever.